All right. Hello, guys. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my live. I'm going to show you how to create a tool that will help you make these super cute, super dainty little bows. And it's so easy. Hi, Amy. Once you make this little tool, you're going to love making these bows. So I started out, I made one of these a really like years and years ago. Um, they are cute, aren't they? And they're so much fun and so easy to make once you have this little tool. A lot of people make these with a fork, but when I made them with a fork, they were so tiny. I decided I wanted to make them just a little bit bigger. And so I remembered making this bow tool a long time ago. So I thought, why not make it again? So we're going to go ahead and make it. To start off, also, once you know how to make this, you could make another one that would allow you to make much bigger bows. I only want to make little bows, so I'm just going to go ahead and make a little one. So to start off, I have 2 pieces of cardboard here. It doesn't matter what it looks like if you're just making it for yourself. You don't even have to cover it with paper if you don't want to. Just take the cardboard and slap them together. I wanted it to be a little bit pretty because why not, right? So I did cover mine with paper. But you don't have to do that step if you don't want to. It's just for looks. Okay. So we're going to start off. Oh, so to do that, what you're going to need is the 2 pieces of cardboard. Chipboard will work. I wouldn't use cardstock. You could double up cereal boxes if you wanted to. I would use something sturdy because you need it to be sturdy. And then you're going to need something like a dowel. You could use paper straws. You could use popsicle sticks if you wanted to. You could use paper clips if you wanted to. Anything that is going to stand up off of here and be sturdy. I'm going to go ahead and use these super thin dowels that I have here. I also have thicker dowels, and those would work too. I just wanted something to be a little bit thinner because you're going to sandwich it in between these 2 pieces of cardboard, and I didn't want a huge amount of space. So let's go ahead and get started. Once you've got your 2 pieces of cardboard, we're going to turn one upside down and get our ruler. We're going to make our marks. I am going to make one side that will make a 1.5 inch bow and one side that will make a 1 inch bow. This is a 1 inch bow here, and I believe that this one is, yep, this is a 1.5 inch bow. Okay. And also on the 1.5 inch side, you can make tassels. I'm gonna show you real quick. I used my bow maker and I made this adorable little tassel. Okay, and I'll show you how I did that too. I also made these yarn bows, which were quite popular for some time. I made one of those with it as well. And I made a yarn bow. So you can get creative with what you can make with these. And also you can make them bigger if once you know how to make it, it'll be really easy for you. Okay. So let's go ahead and do it. We're going to take our ruler and a pencil. And my first, I'm working on the 2.5 inch side. So on this side, I'm going to make let's do this the 1.5 inch side. So that means I need to find my center mark because I want it to be center. Again, not important if you don't really care what it looks like. I'm going to make a mark at the, is that 1/2 inch? The 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to make the mark at 1, 2, 3, the 2 inch. Okay, so I'm just making a nice thick pencil mark so that we can see it. Then I'm going to turn it completely around. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Nope, I didn't figure that I could. Oh, wait a look at that. I can. That is way too zoomed in. Sorry about that. Let's go out just a little bit. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Now you might be able to see what I'm doing a little bit better. All right. So the next part we're going to do, on this side, we're going to do the 1-inch space. So I'm going to put my ruler again, find my center mark, and I'm going to go 1, 2. I'm going to make my mark at 3/4 of an inch. And then 1, 2. And then 1 3/4 of an inch. Okay. I know you can't really see them very well because I'm working on a dark piece of paper, but my marks are there. Can you kind of see them? No, because it's not going to focus. Okay, well, there they are. There you can see them. Okay, so then you take your dowels. I have mine all cut. They're cut to 3 inches. It really doesn't matter how much you cut them. I had 6-inch dowels, so I cut them in half. And then what I've done is I want the part that is going to stand up off of my chipboard or my cardstock here, or I want the part that's going to stand up off of it to be 1.5 inches long. It can be shorter if you want it to be. It doesn't have to be 1 inch. I just wanted it to be uniform, so I picked 1.5 inches. So I made a little mark from the end of my dowel to 1.5 inches, so I know where to line that up. Okay, just a little tip there. Not important again. Do with it what you want. So what we're going to do is put a bit of glue down here. And then we're going to take our dowel, place it onto the glob of glue that you have there. And then just for an added measure, I'm going to go over it with a little bit more glue. Excuse my dog's barking. I'm going to grab another one here and put another dab of glue down. Elsa, if you're going to bark, then go out of my room. Thank you. Maya already is out of my room. She's my big dog. Okay. There we go. And then I just covered it with a little more glue. And then I'm just going to, this part again is not necessary. I just want it to be as flat as possible. So I'm just going to squish it down a tiny bit. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And now I have my 1-inch marks. Hey, Maya, come. Okay, so this is going to be my 1-inch bow side. And then we're going to do the other side. Come here, Maya. Are you done barking now? We don't need to bark at our neighbors, okay? Let's stop that. Go lay down now. Okay. I'm not on camera. I'm sorry. Let me bring it back up there. Let's see if we're better now. There. Are we better? Can you guys see it now? Okay. So all I did is I put down the sticks. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, so you'll be able to see it again. Okay? So what I'm going to do is on my pencil mark that I've made, I'm going to put a glob of glue and then take my dowel here, place it into the glob of glue with my pencil mark lining up with the edge. Run a little bit of glue over there just to make sure it sticks. And then again, another glob of glue over my pencil mark. And hello again. Thank you for joining me again today. Today's project is even better than yesterday's because we're making a bow maker. And who doesn't love a pretty, pretty bow? Okay. So we got that one in. There we go. Then I'm just going to press it down. Also, just so you guys know, I filmed this video 3 times yesterday. And then I gave up and I said, I'm just going to do it in a live tomorrow. Every time I would film it, I would mess up. And since I don't edit my videos, I had to refilm it. So I currently have 3 of these. All right. There we go. So we've got all that down. Now, whoops. Let's make sure I'm on camera. I keep forgetting that I zoomed in, so now I got to keep it higher. All right. So we have all of our sticks down. The next thing we're going to do, or the next thing that I want to do is because now if we just go ahead and stick this on top of it, we're going to have a gap in between. And that's going to make it so that when we try to squeeze it, it's just going to move around. Now, as I said, for most of this part is not important, but I'm going to do it simply because I want to make sure that I don't have a gap. All I'm doing here is running some glue, just putting it all around anywhere that I have a gap, just a good amount of glue. And then I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. While it is drying, I'm going to show you how to make the bow with the ribbon, with the bow maker, because I do already have one that's done. Okay. This is one that I did yesterday that I filmed. Here's another one that I filmed yesterday. Okay. So let's go ahead and make a bow. I'll show you how to do it. It's really simple. You're going to love it. If you guys have any questions, stop me and I will try to clarify it a little bit, okay? I forgot to get some ribbon. So let's get some ribbon first. All right. I have here satin ribbon because I find that I like the satin ribbon the best for these tiny little bows. I'm going to start off with a 1-inch bow. Yeah, right? I have enough to share now. Okay, so you take your ribbon and you place it over the top of your spikes there with a little bit coming off. That's going to be your tail. Once you make a couple of these, you'll learn how much you want to be your tail. It's not like you can't cut it though. So just make sure you give yourself enough that you have a nice tail. Okay. So I'm going to go with about that much. I probably don't need that much. Actually, I'm going to come back about like that. Okay. And then I'm going to bring the ribbon across the front and around the back to the front again. Then I'm going to cut my ribbon. And this part is, it's important that you make. I cut the dowels. So the dowels originally were 6 inches. These are the ones that I had. So what I did is I cut them in half at 3 inches. And then from the ends of each side, I just made a pencil mark at the 1.5 inch so that they would stand. So I knew where to place them. So then I took that 1.5 inch pencil mark, you can see it right there, and I placed it right at the edge of the chipboard so that I knew I'd have the same amount coming out from each end. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. All right, so now let's make this bow. So we got a ribbon here. We're gonna place it over the top of the spikes here and give ourselves enough room for a tail. Wrap it around the front from the back, or wrap it around the back and bring it back to the front. Okay. Then we take our tail that we have here and we tuck it in between the 2 spikes, but underneath the ribbon. So it's kind of like that. Also, I am holding the tail with my fingers. Okay. Then we're going to bring this tail here up from the back. And this little loop here, our tail is going to slip into it like that. And then we just kind of play around with it. I like to set it down on the table. And then I squeeze and I pull and I tighten it as best I can. Keep in mind, though, that while you're tightening it, you do not want to really pull on, you don't want to pull these together, because if you're pulling that hard, these will come out or they'll break. So I always keep my hand on the knot while I'm pulling. You'll notice it'll start to get tighter and tighter. The knot can move around, and you just want to make sure that you get that knot nice and tight. Okay? And then once you have it how you like it, it's kind of centered, you can turn it over and you can see how your bow looks on the other side, and that's really pretty. Love that bow. Bring it in there. There we go. So then all you're going to do is slide it off. And of course, my dowels, I'm going to need to clear coat them because they don't slide very well. They have a little bit of a texture to them. Then I pull it off. I poof my loops. I make sure that it looks like it's centered. If it's not, I can just slide the bow a little bit. Then I cut my tails. And singe them a little bit, and there is a beautiful little bow. Okay. And then I'm going to tell you a little secret that I do. It is beautiful, isn't it? I love it. And it was so easy to make. It seems harder while you're watching me do it, but once you do them a couple of times, you're going to get a feel for it, and it's going to be so easy. You're just going to be able to crank out a whole bunch. If you could see my desk over here on this side, there's a ton of bows over there that are just, I'm just playing with them. Okay, so the last step that I do is I take my wet glue. You can use hot glue if you want to too. And I have a really fine nozzle on there. And I just kind of shove it into the knot on the back side and squeeze a little bit out. And then hold it for a moment. What that's going to do is that's going to help, because I feel like because this is satin and because it is so small, I feel like it can easily unravel just because it's going to just slip out of its own knot. So I like to put a little glue in there. Okay. So now I've showed you how to make the bow. Let's finish putting this together, and then I'm going to show you how I made a tassel, and I'm also going to show you how to make the triple yarn bow. And you can make a double bow or a triple bow with regular ribbon too. All right. So now all the glue that I have on here is dry, and essentially all that did was give me a texture. So what I've done is on one of them, I did fill it with foam. You can see there's foam in the middle. You could do that as well. I found that on my second one, the hot glue was a little bit easier. And now all I'm going to do is just run a bunch of hot glue. Try to be quick about it. Quickly over the whole thing. Then take your top, line it up, and place it on there. And then boom. There is your finished bow maker. Now, if you want to, you could add dowels on this side as well, and dowels on this side to make different size bows. What I would recommend, though, if you're going to do that, is to make your chipboard pieces just a little bit bigger, and then what you'd end up with is some bigger bows. So here I have a bigger bow, and then I have here, I think this is a 4-inch bow. So you can make some bigger bows as well. Okay, so let's make a tassel. I have here a very cute little tassel that I made with a bow on it. I put a baby bow on it, of course. So let's go ahead and make one of those. I'll show you how I did it, and you can see how easy it is. I'm going to use this bright pink. What I have here is just, this is embroidery thread or embroidery floss. I don't know exactly which it's called, but I'm going to use my bigger side, and I'm going to start off with the thread at the bottom. I'm going to hold it there, and then I'm going to just wrap it around here a few times until it kind of looks like what I would want my tassel to be. Once it's there, I'm going to trim off the end. Okay? Just like so. My next step is to take a jump ring. Also, you could skip this step if you don't want a jump ring on it. Just use this as your loop at the top. Okay? So the next thing that I'm going to do is take my little tweezers here, and I'm going to poke it through the center, squeeze a bit of my thread, and then, oh, come on, pull it through. Okay. Now I'm going to pull this up to the top. I'm going to trim it. And I'm so sorry. I'm off camera again. This close-up is killing me. Okay. So all I did is I put a piece of thread through the middle of it, and I pull it to the top. And then I'm going to put my jump ring on there. And then I'm going to tie this tight. It is still on my bow maker because that'll make it easier to tie it off once we're done. I'm going to take my thing off there real quick. I'm just going to tie my first knot on here. I know it's hard for you to see what I'm doing right now, but I'm just going to tie my first knot. Then take my jump ring, stick it on there, make sure my knot's tight, and then tie a second knot. That's going to keep my jump ring where I want it to be. Okay, then I like to lay this down flat. Make sure this is down flat. Make sure that my jump ring is at the top. I'm sorry, no, I'm off camera. There we go. My jump ring's at the top. All of my thread is hung down. And now I'm going to take another piece, stick it through the middle here. And for this part, you kind of just figure out kind of where you want your loop to be. Don't tie it too close to the dowel, but, you know, a little close to the dowel will work. And then make sure all your stuff is down tight so that the loop that you have here is going to be nice and tight. And also, you really want to make sure that your jump ring is at the top. So I'm just kind of adjusting things there. Then you tie this tight, like so. And then I like to put 3 knots in this. And then I like to cut it off right at the knot because this one does not lay flat. And then I would cover that with probably a gold ribbon or something like that. Then all you do is slide it off here like so. And then we put our scissors through the bottom, trim it out. And then we have a really great little tassel. Isn't that fun? All right. And then you can cover your knot there with a little bow or the ribbon. If you want to put a piece of ribbon on there, you can cover it up with that. Whatever you want. That is super cute. I love that. Okay. Now I'm going to show you one more thing that you can do with this, and then I'm sure there's a lot of other things that you can do with it. But for now, I'm just going to show you one more little thing that you can do with this. We're going to make a triple bow. You can make it with yarn. You can make it with thread. You could make it with ribbon if you wanted to. Do I want to do it with yarn? Or should I do it with a ribbon? I don't know. I'm going to do it with... Okay, here we go. I've got this really thin ribbon here. I'm going to use that, and we're going to make a double bow. But you can make a bow. You could probably make it a couple of times if you wanted to. Let's make a triple. So you're going to start off the same way that you make a bow. You're going to have your tassel, or your tassel. You're going to have your tail come across the front. Okay? Then you're going to wrap around the back to the front. Each time you come to the front, that is one loop. Okay? So we're at 1, 2, and then just for fun, let's see if 3 works. We're going to go around one more time and 3. Now we're all the way to the front. I'm going to go ahead and trim this. It's important that you remember you have to hold your tail. I usually pinch with my thumb and finger right where the tail comes through, because you have to hold that. Otherwise, you're going to lose it. Okay, I'm just spreading out my loops a little bit better. Okay. Once you have that, then what you're going to do, take your ribbon and put it underneath. Let's see if you can see. Put it underneath the ribbon that you have wrapped around, but in between the 2 spikes. Pull it up from the back, and then you've got this loop here. You're going to go down through the loop. Okay. And then you're just going to wiggle it around, pull on it, and tighten it. I like to put it down on the table and pull and tighten. And if you find that it's pulling your wood too much together, pull it off and then pull and tighten it. Okay? Then all you have to do, separate out your bows or your loops. So a 3 loop did work pretty good. I don't know how well, on this tiny of a bow, I don't know how well it would work if you had a thicker ribbon, but a thick ribbon really looks really cute with this tiny little bow too. Oh, that looks really cute. I'm really happy with it. Then all I'm gonna do is trim my tail. Probably what I would do with this one is on the back, I would add another tail. Maybe figure out how to get it in there so that you have 2 tails. Oh, thank you. I'm glad, because it's hard to explain this. And so I wanted to make sure that I could clearly get it across. All right, I'm going to give you a close-up of the bow. Is it going to focus? Come on, camera. You can do it. There we go. Isn't that cute? I'll show you. I have here one that I made on a bigger one. This is a bigger bow, doubled with a thicker satin ribbon as well. So you can do it. This one is with a 4-inch bow maker. I'll show you the one that I made. This was a prototype I was playing with. This is the actual bow maker. On this one, while it's really big, I was able to get a 4-inch bow out of it, a 3-inch bow out of it. I think that's a 2-inch bow and a 1-inch bow. But what I didn't like about it was how big it was. And especially since while these bows are pretty, they are pretty, I just couldn't think of a use for them. So to me, a bow maker that made smaller bows was more useful. So that's why I changed it up and gave you the how-to on how to make this one. And also, I just didn't think I could use the... Thank you for joining us, Marilyn. I hope that you make one. I hope it turns out good and that you enjoy making the bows then. Don't forget to put a little dab of glue in your knot. That part will help immensely in keeping them together. Also, it may help keep your tails where you want them. I have a hard time with tails. They never work out for me. See, this tail's doing what it wants to do. Okay, well, anyways, there's a bow. And now you guys know how to make a mini bow maker. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and it was so much easier to do it live than it was to film it for some reason. I don't know why, but it just was. Plus, it's more fun because then if I'm not getting it clear how I'm doing it, then you guys can ask a question. So this is the bow maker that I got yesterday. It's called the Bow Dabra. And it makes an interesting bow. Let's see here. I didn't really love it, but what you're supposed to do is you put a little piece of something down there so you can tie it. Right? Or no, it goes this way. Yeah, this way. And then you take your bow, or you take your ribbon, and you just keep packing it down there however you want it, like that. Then you take this little guy and you shove him in there. Then you take you're supposed to use a wire. I did buy the wire that goes with it, but I don't have it out right now, so I'm just going to use this. You take this and you tighten it, and then you pull it out. And there's your bow. But the problem that I had with it is that I don't know. I just don't like... I'm going to have to play with it some more because it does give you a fluffy bow. It's a very pretty bow, but I don't like the tails. So, like, I cannot, like, it just doesn't seem to work out the way that I need it to work out, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I am doing it wrong. But the tails, one is on the back side, and then I did try more layers, but then you still don't have, your tails are, one's on the back and one ends up on the front. So, I don't know. I don't know. Let's try more layers and see what that does. Let's see. I don't have anything left to tie it with. Let's try this. We'll put that down there. So I watched a few videos of it. You take this, you tuck it underneath there, like that. Then you take your tail, you put it in there. There's your tail. You know what? Let's try this. Cut it off. And oh no, I'm out of ribbon. I guess I'm going to have to grab another ribbon. Well, I wanted to try it with this, so let's see how it works with tulle. So you put it down there, and then you just keep stacking it in there. Okay. And then we'll do one more, and that'll be my tail there. Okay, and then my tail here. Maybe if I pull the tails out now, then you take your, the nice thing was that this thing was $10. So if I don't like it and I don't use it very much, it won't be the end of the world. Push that in there. That didn't stay very well for the tulle, but that's okay. Pull up my string and knot it. Pull up my string and knot it. And one more time, just for good measure, give it a good knot. Okay, then I use my string. I pull it up. I got my tail here. I guess with the tulle, it's harder to tell that the tails are not both behind it. So that's something that's better, I guess. And then let's fluff out our bows, or I guess I should call them our loops. And, well, it does make a nice little fluffy bow. This might be a good bow for a wreath. Of course, mine's crooked, but that's okay. But yeah, I guess if you're playing, this might be a good wreath bow, right? Well, stick a flower right in the middle of that. That'd be kind of pretty. Okay, well, I guess I'm done playing for now. I appreciate you guys joining me for this tutorial. I hope that you make one and that you love making the bows as much as I do. And I will see you all again very soon.